Hello, Craftedshutter watchers, and today I am really excited to bring you one of the first interviews, or the first interview I have done for my channel here on YouTube on Craftedshutter, and I really hope that you gain some knowledge from this. It's a wonderful artist, fantastic person, and I hope that you take the time to watch all of the interview here. And if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know in the comments below, as we'll try to build out the channel with more and more valuable information and stuff that keeps us all humming and working hard, doing what we love and our passion. So without saying anything more, let's go ahead and roll with this interview. And before I go on, if you haven't subscribed or haven't rung that bell, please do so. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm from Dayton, Oregon, which is just a little bit, like 45 minutes outside of Portland, Oregon. And yeah, I'm Daniel Hurst, and my company is called Via Films, and I do stock video.
Excellent. Now, how did you get started shooting stock video?
Well, I initially got started doing stock photos, and that was in around 1998. Right after college, I was shooting photos, agricultural photos, and a specialist agency contacted me and asked if I was interested in selling some of these ag photos. And so I agreed, and it kind of opened my eyes to stock photography, and it was really interesting to me. I did it for a few years just kind of on the side while I was doing commercial photography, but eventually I started doing it enough that it kind of became my full-time thing. So I did that for a few years. And then around 2006, 2007, I started experimenting with video, time-lapse videos at first, because I was a still photographer and never had owned a video camera or anything. So it was a way to get into video without buying some equipment. So I started doing time-lapses and uploaded a few of those time lapses to iStock. It was when they first started doing video, so put a few time lapses up there, just kind of a test, just some stuff I'd shot for fun, and they actually started to sell pretty well. And so then I thought, well, maybe there's something to this, and at the same time, the industry for the still photos was starting to go down because of companies like iStock and Shutterstock. They were selling photos really cheaply. So I thought, well, maybe this is something to get more into. So I bought a video camera, HVX 200, and started kind of filming. Anytime I was doing a still photo shoot, I would do some video as well and upload those to iStock. And so I started as an iStock exclusive back then when they kind of launched iStock video. And, eventually it was kind of a gradual transition, but over a year or two, the videos I was shooting actually started to sell a lot better and make more income than the photos. So eventually I kind of, quit doing the photo part of it, and the productions became more video instead of photo and video.
Now, do you still do any photo at all?
I don't do a whole lot. No,
Okay. Yep.
I have a small portfolio of photos on Stocksy.
Yep.
And so I'll shoot a few photos and upload them there. I do have some of my older photo galleries still on Getty and places like that,
Right.
but I don't actively contribute to any of those except for Stocksy occasionally.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. We started about the same time. I remember you could put up just about anything on iStock in the beginning and it would sell.
Yeah.
Those were the good days. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I still remember those days. It was pretty amazing how, one simple time lapse or, pretty much anything you would shoot, there wasn't already competition for that subject matter on the site. And so it was just kind of wide open. You could kind of see what's selling good in the still photo side, where there was thousands of photos, and then you'd search, the video for the same kind of subjects, and there was just nothing.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
So it was just kind of a wide open opportunity.
yeah, it was great. And of course, it's been great for both of us since then. We just have to work a little harder. How did, now that you've shot stock, and of course you started shooting more stock video, so do you do any other projects besides stock? So how do you balance that out?
Yeah. So you know, some people, they have a career in video, and then that kind of leads them to shooting some stock video on the side. I almost kind of did this the opposite way. I started with stock video, and that has led to some other side work. So now I do some work as an aerial or a high speed director of photography, mostly for like commercials and things like that. But all that was stuff I kind of taught myself doing stock video.
Right.
And then I also rent out the gear that I own. And again, that was gear that I purchased through doing the stock video. But now I'm able to rent that gear on productions and go out as a tech and operate it or act as a DP with that gear. So I rent Red cameras, Phantom cameras, and aerial system, the Cineflex aerial system. Yeah.
Excellent. It's always good. It's funny because that's what I've done the same. I've done a lot of commercials and side shoots off of my stock. I started with stock, and then I went the other way too. So, yeah, I think it opens up a lot of doors if you build a good portfolio. That's what I've always told people. Mm-hmm. So the funnest, this was always fun, the funnest shoot or the most memorable shoot that you've had, one of them shooting stock?
Well, I think it's definitely like the kind of some of the firsts that I did when I was shooting a lot of stock come to mind, like the first high-speed shoot that we ever did. It was kind of before the Phantom camera was really available, and we rented a high-speed camera from Germany. It was a company that made cameras for crash testing, and cool. And so we had that camera for a week, rented it for a week, and pretty much just shot every different thing we could think of. At the time there wasn't any high-speed shots on iStock, and so it was kind of a wide open market, and it was just like every shot we did, you could tell it was going to be like a bestseller, and it was just a fun process of learning that, and shooting stock and learning the equipment and learning all the technical aspects of shooting high speed kind of at the same time. And so so we came away from that shoot with some great stock, but then also a little knowledge of how that all worked, the lighting and everything with high speed. And so, after that shoot, I was pretty much convinced that I had to own one of those cameras and shoot with that thing all the time, because it was just such a blast to do.
Now, I want to give you kudos because I noticed that you did this, and you probably took a risk in getting a camera like that and, not knowing how it would sell. But you took a extremely smart risk in that you jumped on that market before anybody else did on the slow motion. And I really think that was awesome, because I've always loved looking at your slow motion work. It's addicting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and aerials was kind of the same way, because it was pre-drone days,
yes.
And to shoot high quality aerials, stabilized aerials from a helicopter was really expensive, and so we took a big risk and did a big production down in Los Angeles, 3 days of filming from a helicopter down there with a aerial crew and everything, and so that was $30,000 plus to do something like that.
Yep.
But it was another great learning experience, and it definitely ended up paying off.
Yes.
In the end, and that was another thing that I just most of the reason I wanted to do it, not only because it was going to sell, but it was something that was really interesting to me, and I just wanted to learn about and be able to do. So the same thing, as soon as we did that shoot, I just knew that this was something I wanted to do more of, and I wanted to be able to operate the equipment and own the equipment, and so eventually got there.
So I would say, like me, you enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I tell people, if you're going to shoot stock, you've got to enjoy the process. So
yeah, definitely. I think the other most memorable, some of the most memorable shoots are being able to travel with my family. So I have 4 kids, and through shooting stock, we've gone to Dubai and Costa Rica and Hawaii, and my wife and I just went to Tokyo to shoot aerials last year. And so being able to have that flexibility, shooting stock, and being able to just bring my family along, maybe use them as talent models, actors instead of the shots, but then also just being able to, to kind of have an enjoyable time with the family as well.
That's awesome. Now, what is your scariest moment shooting stock?
Um, I think one of them was it was the second aerial shoot that we did. We were in New York City. We were flying over Manhattan, and then the pilot was very talkative, very chatty guy. All of a sudden, he just stopped talking, immediately turned the helicopter and headed straight. He didn't say a word. So the flight back to the place to land was about 5 minutes. He never spoke one word. He was just focused on getting that helicopter back, and I had no idea what was going on. An engine light had come on, and he had just immediately turned and just headed straight back without saying anything. And so that was a little unnerving. It's a little scary the first few times in a helicopter anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of thinking of where would we land if we lost power or something, and what would that look like? And so, that was a little scary. That's the only time in a helicopter where I've had something like that happen, but to be one of the first times in a helicopter to have that happen. We ended up landing safely, and the engine did have to be rebuilt, though. It was a warning light for the engine was failing. It was starting to come apart, and so we couldn't finish that day of filming.
Right.
We were out for a kind of a midday shoot, kind of a scouting shoot for our sunset, our dusk shots, and because of the timing and everything, and the helicopter wasn't able to be used for that shoot, we weren't able to move the equipment to another helicopter or anything, so we were pretty much just done for the day. So we sat there and watched the great sunset and wishing we were out there filming after all this effort to get over there and set everything up. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's that would make my pulse race, because helicopters don't come down smoothly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. I haven't had anything that close. I've usually my close calls are something I'm doing myself, like walking off the back of a cliff or something.
Okay.
But I haven't had any helicopter failure. So your favorite gear? You mentioned slow motion. Shooting slow motion and aerials. That's your favorite kind of cameras to work with, or do you like them all?
Yeah, I kind of like a little bit of everything. Yeah, the high-speed camera that I own and operate is the Phantom Flex 4K, and it's a great camera. They've come a long way since the early high-speed camera that we rented. The Flex 4K is just really user-friendly, easy to operate. We can run it off batteries. We can have onboard media to record to. Those are things that we really wish we would have had back in the early days, because we were tethered to a laptop, tethered to AC power, and so that camera is kind of my main staple for high speed. I shoot red cameras, helium 8K, the new 8K red, and I've always been into photography, and vintage cameras and lenses have always kind of had a place in my heart. I collect old cameras, and I still use them from time to time. So, now I'm starting to collect a little bit of vintage, like cinema glass. And that's always kind of fun to play with, and kind of, utilizing those unique characteristics of some of the older lenses.
I do. I like older characteristics of the lenses. I have some old cine glass. I really like it. So it's a lot of fun to shoot with. It just gives some more texture to the image. When I look at it. Now, I didn't ask you this on the questions I sent you earlier, but have you tried any 360?
No, I never have.
Okay.
It seemed like about a year or two ago, a lot of the stock companies were talking about 360 and asking me if I was willing to try it, shoot some 360. I had a couple offers from, manufacturers to maybe, use some of their gear to shoot some stock with, but it never ended up happening, and it kind of fizzled out, and I'm not really hearing much talk about it anymore. So it's just something I never really got into.
Now, do you think cameras are going to change even more, or you think we've kind of hit a plateau on the technology?
I think in some ways there has been kind of a plateau. Like, cameras aren't being replaced quite as quickly. Like, for instance, the high-speed cameras, the first high-speed camera I bought was replaced after 2 years, which was kind of tough to take because I had a 2-year payment plan on it. As soon as it was paid off, it was obsolete. Yeah. So I was a little reluctant to buy another high-speed camera. But I mean, having a 4K camera, I felt like was important for to take stock to the kind of next era. So I did. But so that the Flex 4K has been out for about 6 years now, so that camera hasn't been replaced yet.
Okay.
So I do see like in that a little bit, it's slowing down. The technology is not being outdated quite as quick. I think once everything was kind of up to 4K, and there wasn't really a need for cameras to be replaced as quickly. But I do see there's still a lot of technologies that are exciting and new. Like the new GoPro with the stabilization in the new GoPro is pretty great. I think drones. I mean, the last like 4 or 5 years, like the Mavic 2. I'm using the Mavic 2 Pro now, and that's a great little drone. I can carry it anywhere with me. So I think there's still some advances in some of those technologies that are still kind of exciting.
Yeah, I love my drone. I got to fly before they locked it all down. So I can't fly as many places now, but I've flown a lot of places that there are signs up now. I can't fly there anymore. But I love flying the drone. Now, of course, you've been at this about as long as I have, and I've always admired your work. I've always felt your work has been top tier, and I'll go ahead and link to your portfolio if that's okay in the description below here. But I've always seen your work as top tier. I've always looked up to it. I've always appreciated it. So that leads me into my next question: is where do you see the market going, and how have you seen it change in the stock video realm?
Yeah. I've always thought that I kind of witnessed firsthand what the path that the still photography did in stock, how it kind of the pricing oversupply and then the pricing going down. And, stock video has actually fared pretty well compared to photos. It didn't happen as quickly as, you might have thought it would happen, but I do see it happening. A lot of subscription companies are popping up and just offering really low pricing. That along with oversupply, there's just so many videos out there available at all the different sites now. So I do see that kind of that pressure, oversupply, lower pricing pressure starting to come in a little bit. I think for me, like my strategy is focusing on the higher end production, focusing on a higher production value, harder to shoot, higher quality content. And then looking at ways to get that seen by buyers, whether it's working with agencies on like special marketing or doing exclusive collections. Like I'm doing Pond 5, doing an exclusive collection there that will be marketed and priced a little bit higher. Also looking at some rights managed opportunities to do like exclusive rights managed collections with some agencies. Where there's not as much competition. There's not just like, thousands of videos competing in that space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tougher market. It's not like the first days of iStock, but I'm with you. I'm bullish about the Pond 5 exclusivity. So I have been starting to put quite a bit of effort into their platform. So hopefully it pays off. And I also think that as you know this, you might not have a red camera or you might not have the top gear, but your creativity and focus to detail still can make you money if you hire models and do the harder shoots, as you say. And I think that for people got there saying getting started, I said it just takes a little bit more work. It still can be done, but it just takes a little bit more work. So
I definitely agree. Yeah, and I think it's a lot of it's not about quantity. It's about quality.
Yes.
It's much better to spend a lot of time doing 10 really nice clips than just going and shooting 100 similars. I've always kind of had that kind of approach, and I think it's worked well for me.
Yeah. Well,
actually being like just one person kind of doing everything yourself, it's hard to manage that many shots.
Now, are your kids still willing to be your models?
Yeah, they do. I don't do as much lifestyle as I did in the early days. But yeah, they still like it. They enjoy it. My daughter, who's 10 now, we all did New Year's resolutions a couple years ago, and one of her New Year's resolutions was she wanted to be on a commercial, and I'm sure she probably was, and I didn't even know it. But we ended up one of our friends ended up seeing her on a commercial and sent it to us all and everything, and so she was so excited about that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an 8 and a 10-year-old, so they're still pretty willing, but pretty soon they're going to make me pay them. So, so I tell them, hey, I'm putting food on the table. So, hey, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to answer some of these questions, giving your feedback. I still love the industry just like you do, and
Hmm.
keep moving forward and
Yeah.
yeah, keep having fun. I mean, it's been a wonderful lifestyle. I don't know about for you, but for me, it's been a wonderful lifestyle and continues to be
Yeah,
so. So,
definitely. Yeah. I know you were in the medical field, and I
yes.
always heard that story, and I always thought that was such a neat thing. So you've moved on from that, and you're doing stock full time now, right?
Yeah, I have. I've been out of the medical field for 9 years. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I've been doing stock full time along with like you, other jobs, side jobs, local areas, and
Yeah.
I've gone. I've just traveled in the states. I haven't traveled abroad, but I've done some jobs in other states, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's a blast. So I don't plan on stopping
Yeah.
unless the train
Yeah.
stops for me.
Definitely.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so
And what agencies are your so did you go 100% exclusive with Pond 5 and take
no, I
content off other sites?
I
Or?
did not because of financially it just would kill me really
Hmm.
to do it. And I told him that I'm like, I'm from this day forward, I'm happy to go and give you exclusive content, but I can't go take everything off because I couldn't pay my bills. So yeah, I'm really focused on, I've put about 600 clips since they started up as exclusive there now.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm focusing on is higher end shoots, my YouTube channel, other outside business ventures, and balancing it all. And
Hmm.
because it's a tough world out there, and you got to keep moving. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I use Black Box. I know Patrick from Black Box,
Oh, okay.
and that's not a bad platform, but it's not an exclusive platform.
Hmm.
So,
So
so
with your Pond 5 exclusives, you have to upload that separately. That can't go through Black Box. Is that right?
that is correct. But I do
Yeah.
curation on Black Box, which you can check that out. But I curate for several YouTube artists, and
Hmm.
then Black Box splits the commission.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
I've curated, edited, keyworded, and uploaded, and then I take a percentage, 30,
Okay.
35 to 40% of each sale.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Since I went non-exclusive, I started submitting by hard drive instead of uploading online.
yep,
So I think that's part of the reason I haven't looked into Black Box or places like that,
right,
because I send a hard drive out every 6 months.
okay,
So I'm not really regularly submitting. I kind of do it in batches.
right,
So I'll spend 6 months just kind of gathering things up, and then I do one, like a couple just brutal days of keywording and organizing and getting the drives ready,
yep,
and it makes it so I'm not having to do all that stuff constantly.
right,
I just kind of have to do it in one batch every 6 months. Then I just ship hard drives out to my kind of select
yes,
agency. And
yeah.
yeah,
Now I
this
have
is
gotten my wife to keyword a little bit, but she quits on me too much, so
okay.
can't get her to do
Yeah,
it too much. So
yeah, yeah.
so hey,
Yeah.
it's been fantastic. I really appreciate it, and your insight and wisdom will keep following you, and I wish you the best moving forward. So
Yeah, thank you. You
yeah,
too. Well,
thanks.
let me know if you're ever out this way in Oregon. Be fun to meet up and
You
say
know,
hi.
I have a dream. Probably next summer. I'll getting an RV and traveling out west, touring all
Yeah,
around. So maybe I'll swing by. Yeah, just to tour around and shoot and with my
yeah,
kids. I think it'd be fun.
yeah, yeah. Did
So
you ever do any of the iStock back when
I
iStock?
never got out to one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure they were a lot of fun.
it was neat to meet other contributors, because they're like your competition, but you meet them and shoot with them and hang out with them for a few
Yep.
days, and you just get to know them as people. And I still stay in pretty close contact with a lot of those people that I met
Oh yeah,
at some of the iStock events and whatnot. And so that's
definitely.
something another thing that I kind of missed from those days.
Yeah, I do stay in touch with several people from my stock on a regular
Yeah.
basis. So yeah,
Uh,
it's good stuff.
yeah.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful afternoon, evening. You're earlier than me, so
Yeah.
have a wonderful time, and we'll chat again sometime.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
man.
care.
See you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.